Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Pri Cosentino, who's the founder and financial advisor at Fern Prosperity, and we'll be talking about overcoming retirement fears and achieving peace of mind. Pri, welcome to the program.
The pleasure to be here, Mike. It's always great to be able to talk about something that's so important to most of us, something that really make us stop and freeze.
Yeah, I think that you really worded that well, because I think statistically research has proven people are really worried about retirement, even more so these days with all the news and just different things that come up that they cannot control. But will I have enough money? Will my Social Security be enough? And all of those questions. So I think when you're talking about here retirement fears, that's really a huge point. So let's start off with, what are some of those common fears that people face?
As you mentioned, I think one of the two big things is running out of money. And the other one, for sure, is becoming a burden to their family. Mm. We have those two fears. We really start debating about, can I do it? Can I not do it? Am I spending too much? Do I need to start saving? Is there something that I can do? Do I need to go back to work? And that can completely destroy us when we are in our retirement, because we work most of our lives and we are looking to enjoy the best part of it. That's retirement. So when we start planning, when we start understanding the solution is clarity, then everything makes sense. When we need to understand, when we have the possibilities to map out small concrete steps, then we can put everything in action, and the fear is replaced, because now I know.
That's an interesting point, because I think from even the perspective of personal development and coaching, once you address any fear, whatever it is, and kind of look at it and go, well, what's the worst that could happen? Or let's put, a name to this fear. All of a sudden you feel like, well, that's not that big of a deal. So in retirement, once some of those fears that you're mentioning are addressed, and maybe here's a plan of action, it really lessens the fear. Now, does it mean there is no more fear ever? It'll never crop back up? Of course not. But at least you have a plan now that you can be moving forward with.
What I do is help translate that fear into the step by step. So exactly what you mentioned, Mike, is to be able to say, okay, my fear is still here, but I know the plan and I understand what are the steps and the actions necessary to be done.
Yep. Yes, that's a really, really, really good point. So let's think about what are, you mentioned a couple of the fears. Are there any others that are pretty common that you run across?
I think a lot of people also are scared about the possibility of enjoying and how long they will be able to enjoy. And that's a concern that I have to tell you, Mike. The only thing that we truly know is that we will die one day.
Yeah.
But we don't know when. So we need to make the best to enjoy every single day. And that's the goal when we are talking about retirement planning, is to enjoy every single day so you can be with what matters the most to you, and have the money be the tool for you to enjoy the best part of our lives.
So that makes me think of a question where, yes, a lot of people fear having enough money to get to and through retirement. But then what do you say to someone about, well, now we're at retirement age and here's the plan. You should have enough money because here's these numbers. And how do you help them kind of live a little? Meaning, sometimes I would think that a retired person or couple would go, "Ooh, we can't take that trip this year because what if taxes go up, or what if inflation goes up, and we need to make sure we have enough money for retirement?" How do you help them still have that healthy fear, like, okay, we need to be careful, but go live a little too.
Great question. When we are talking about retirement planning, is showing the possibilities and what is going to work or not. So a great way that I like to use with my clients is testing the possibilities that they are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be okay with that trip? And we tested how much will be that trip, how much costs that house that they are looking for, how much costs helping their kids through college. And when they test and start seeing the possibilities and that everything still stays secure, then that gives them the feeling of, okay, now I can see it. Actually, if I just can share one of the stories that I had with a client this week, and she's closer to retirement age, and her position in the company is being closed, so they are not going to hold anymore that position. And she was saying, now what? Can I still retire? Do I need to start going back to research for a job? Should I consider myself unemployed? And what we worked together was testing everything that she wanted, herself and her husband, for retirement. And we were able to see that if they do everything that they wanted to do, they are still going to be okay. Being conservatives, being saying that if the market doesn't run as well as is right now, testing things like happened with 2001, how all of that is looking like. And she started seeing, oh, okay, I not maybe be able to do 7 trips to Europe, but I don't need to be concerned.
Yeah.
Go back and
About
start
one.
about wanting. Exactly. I was like, I can
Yeah.
do one, I can do one per year, but do I need to be crazy about a job right now? Oh no, I can still go ahead. And what she wanted the most is join time with her grandson. And she said, freaking, I can do that. I didn't realize that I can enjoy my family. I'm like, yes, we can do that. It's possible. So what we do is truly work towards what's important the most. So it's having the clear understanding what matters to you.
On the flip side of retirement fears, once those are addressed and a plan of action put into place, like what you're saying. And then, of course, the plan of action needs to be reviewed every 6 months, 12 months, whatever time frame, and make sure everything's, of course, that. But the flip side of retirement fears is that peace of mind that you talk about, because what a gift you were able to give that client and many others, I'm sure, when they are worried about, ooh, what if my job and this and now I can't. And you said what you just said, and they probably hung up the phone or left your office just walking on cloud nine, feeling like all is good again. So talk a little bit about the benefit of that peace of mind aspect.
The peace of mind is completely changing in our lives, right? When we get to the best part, that's enjoying, neuroscience already proved to us the fact that help us truly be able to feel secure. So we remove that excess fear that we have in ourselves, and we start going back to see the color about everything that's surrounding. And that's what happened to this client that I just shared the story. She was right there and almost starting to see all black and white. And with the security in checking her plan so often, like you mentioned, every 6 months, every 1 year, she started being able to check and say, oh, look at that. Everything has a color. I can be with my grandson. So when we bring that understanding of what that means, when we start creating the right planning, when we start balancing and having joy,
Yeah.
then we have the best part of our lives. And I have to tell you, what are we looking for is retirement, aren't we? Because we work so hard to be able to enjoy, and we deserve to be enjoying.
That makes me think of yet another point, which is this. And I know you and I are not medical doctors, but I think we have both heard research out there that says when you're more relaxed, when you have less stress in your life, when have overcome your retirement fears, you live a little bit longer statistically. So yes, peace of mind is wonderful. That gives you more joy, but it also helps extend life. And I think that's another huge piece that you're bringing to the table, right?
That's correct, Mike. And when we think about that, Just think about us working too much, or who is still in the working industry, right? When we are talking about too much stress, we start lacking confidence, we start questioning ourselves, we start doubting, we start sleeping less, we start not being able to eat properly. When we reduce all of that and we are able to create peace, we are able to create enjoyment, our brain knows the right place. It starts seeing the plan, and you can restore your confidence. You can restore your security and enjoyment.
That's huge, and I think that too many times people don't put enough focus on that. So let's kind of get back to a couple of the other points you were bringing up, like how to address or lessen the fear of unexpected medical cost, because I think that sometimes we look at our retirement savings as a bucket and there's water in it. And all of a sudden we're stopping pouring money in because we've stopped working. We've retired. So now we have to make sure there's no holes in the bucket, or at least the holes that are there are not as big as possible. Well, medical costs are an unknown, and many times you cannot plan for that. So how do you educate your clients on how to deal with unexpected medical cost?
I think unplanned health expenses are like a storm. You can't stop them, but you can carry an umbrella.
Yeah.
So for clients, that umbrella is building with insurance, with saving buffers and realistic projections. What can help them with healthcare? We need to be aware that in general, our health with time is not going to be as good as used to be. From us for a child to young adults and so on. So what we can do is put in place a plan that will help us with the confidence in a way that's taking care of that storm. Will I be
Yeah.
able to avoid that storm? Unfortunately, no, because we cannot know what's going to be. I'm here from Central Florida. We have a hurricane coming. Can we avoid the hurricane? The answer is no. But
Yeah.
we can put in place, we can protect our windows, we can have the right food, we can put gas in our car. The same things can be done to mitigate the unexpected medical costs. And that's what we need to address when we are talking about retirement planning, because healthcare, it's something that needs to be a concern.
Yeah, because in a real way, healthcare is something that brings up those unexpected expenses that can really drain retirement savings. So again, like we've said before, put a plan in place, monitor that plan, and make sure that it's working the way that it should work. So that kind of brings me to like a final question I've got for you. How can people and families be assured that they won't become a financial burden to their family during retirement? That's one of the fears you mentioned, but that kind of is a big fear. It's like, I don't want people to worry about me and be a burden. So how do you address that?
The fear of burden is more emotional than really financial. When we are talking about that families feel reassured when they see that a plan on paper can help them. We understand the stress and the cost of helping our kids when they are sick. And we don't want to be that stress when it's our kids with us.
Yeah.
When we put in plan a map, a determination of permissions, of funding, on what is important to happen with clarity, it creates the greatest gift that you can give for yourself and your families. When your family see that everything is prepared in place, when they are aware of what can happen, where they can get the money from, who can they call to help with those directions, when they can be sure about the best steps to do, all of that give them more peace. So that's the important thing, is to truly have a visual proof of active steps. Create a roadmap so they can understand, if that happened, what's the best scenario for you. There is no great way if you don't stop to talk about that. We can only address something that's happening, even that's a hard one, when we stop and talk about it.
And I would also wonder too, in that conversation about not being a financial burden during retirement, maybe it's the retiree as well as their family or certain members of their family that would be in that meeting, not just Mr. and Mrs. retiree. Maybe their kids and grandkids could be in that meeting too, just to kind of see what that plan is. Is that something that can be helpful as well?
Yes, that's for sure. After the retirees understand what the best works for them, it's important for them to share with all the family members that they wanted to be involved in that scenario. So if they have one specific kid that's going to be the one taking care of them, if it's going to be all of them, those are important conversations, even though they are hard, to create a plan that they are aware of it. Because even the kids might have some concerns and they might not even understand what is the plan in place. And what I have seen, unfortunately, more than I wish, Mike, is seeing kids calling and saying, I have no idea.
Yeah.
My dad had done this and this in another place. Pri, can you help? Can you explain what this letter means? I don't know what's going on. And all of that could have been solved with one or two meetings where they are aware of the whole plan.
Yes. 100%. Well, it's been so helpful to talk through some of these things, Pri, about identifying retirement fears and then also how to overcome them. And the result is you get a little bit more of that peace of mind because you know you've got that plan in place. So if someone is interested in learning a little more and reaching out and connecting with you, what's the best way that they can do that?
The best way is just go to my website, pricosentino.com, pricosentino.com, and you will find my phone number, my email address. You can book directly a phone call with me, and I'll be there to help you understand the best way that you can mitigate and take care of your fears so you are in control.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a real pleasure talking with you today.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.